Warren Buffett is reportedly worth over $100 billion. From a shy boy selling Coca-Cola door-to-door into a billion-dollar empire, one of the richest men in the world. He grew his wealth by winning consistently in the stock market. So how did he do it? What did he do differently? Warren Buffett was born in Omaha, Nebraska in August of 1930. In his early childhood, he noticed how people struggled to make a living, quickly learned about the importance of money. His father was a smart businessman. Growing up, Warren was a shy and quiet boy who spent most of his childhood alone, often reading books from his father's library. And it was from this library where he developed an early obsession with investing and the game of business. At the young age of 6, Warren started his first business selling Coca-Cola door-to-door and making 5 cents for every 6-pack. He soon added a few more items to his small business, and just a year later, Warren was selling chewing gum, magazines. By the time he was just 11, the boy used all of his savings to buy his first stock, purchasing 3 shares for himself in an oil and gas company, with each stock valued at $38.25. Shortly after buying them, their value dropped to around $27 per share. He held on tight and waited until their value rose to $40 before selling them. Although he had successfully turned a profit, he noticed that those same shares later shot up to over $200. The whole Buffett family moved from Omaha to Washington, D.C. There, Warren Buffett would get his first real job at the age of 14, delivering newspapers for the Washington Post. He took another job with one of their competitors, the Times-Herald, earning $179 per month. Buffett later used his earnings and savings to buy a pinball machine with a friend of his and installed it at a barber shop. Soon after, they bought 2 more pinball machines, and at the end of each week, they later sold their machines for $1,200. And with the money earned, Warren Buffett bought his first property, a 40-acre plot of land in Nebraska. After graduating from high school in 1947, Buffett was eager to begin his life as a full-time stockbroker. However, his father wanted him to go to college. After obtaining his bachelor's degree in business administration from the University of Nebraska, he was later rejected by Harvard when he applied for his master's degree, leading him to enroll at the Columbia Business School, where he met a teacher who would change his life, Benjamin Graham. They met. Graham had just published one of the most famous books of his career, The Intelligent Investor. The book was a step-by-step guide on how to invest successfully and consistently. Graham would go on to become one of the most influential men in his life after his father. His master's degree in economics, Buffett was eager to kickstart his career and yearned to work near the headquarters of the biggest investment firms in the country and home of the historic New York Stock Exchange, Wall Street. He was terrified of talking to new people and at times would even throw up out of pure nervousness. Nevertheless, he summoned the courage and signed up for a public speaking course, and that move turned out to be one of the best investments, the best thing you can do. The more you learn, the more you earn. Benjamin Graham contacted Buffett and offered him a job at his investing firm in New York. In 1956, Warren Buffett was on his own after Graham decided to retire and shut down the partnership, now ready to establish his own partnership, making those who invested in him into millionaires, while also transforming himself into one of the wealthiest people in the world. In 1956, at the age of 25, Buffett returned to Omaha and started his own partnership called Buffett Associates Limited. He got some of his friends and family to invest a total of $105,000, and immediately after, he kickstarted his partnership. Influenced by his master, he began investing in undervalued stocks, but took its philosophy to the extreme by dealing with terrible performing companies that were ready to go bankrupt, buying them so cheap that even their liquidation value was worth more. This strategy is what he calls the cigar butt method. Proved to be a masterstroke for Buffett, and over the next 6 years of his business, his partnership's net worth increased from a $105,000 venture to a $7.2 million foundation. As his portfolio began to grow, so did the number of people who wanted to join. Still had the looks of a teenager, despite being in his late 20s. And for more than 5 years, he conducted his business all alone, writing all the checks, filing the tax returns, and taking delivery on stocks, causing many potential clients to doubt him. But for those who were bold enough to invest in him, they would see their portfolios rise, averaging a 29.5% compound annual return from 1956 to 1969, outperforming the stock market by a factor of 4. 10 years into his partnership, Warren Buffett was managing over $44 million in assets. And just 3 years later, these numbers shot up to an astonishing $104 million. You see, it became difficult for him to keep making his cigar butt investments in an overvalued stock market, and was well aware that the bull market they were experiencing would soon be coming to an end. He found it too risky to continue investing with other people's money, and so, by the end of 1969, he made the big decision to dissolve the business altogether and let his partners go. Still, he had built his own fortune all the way to $25 million by the age of 39, and he was ready to make his next move, turning Berkshire Hathaway into a billion-dollar empire. Luckily, one of his good business partners, Charlie Munger, influenced him to change his philosophy from buying fair companies at great prices to great companies at fair prices. And by the age of 60, Warren Buffett himself had a net worth over $1 billion. Over the years, Berkshire Hathaway has gone on to buy and hold shares in many grade A companies. Most recently, large banks such as Goldman Sachs and Bank of America, making Berkshire Hathaway one of the most powerful and profitable companies in the world, and Buffett himself the richest man on earth in 2008. But even with all of his riches and achievements, Buffett still remains an astonishingly frugal man, who can be seen driving his 2014 Cadillac XTS and often eating McDonald's for breakfast. It is clear that the Oracle of Omaha is a man who has lived by his principles and integrity, but above everything, he will be remembered as the man who understood the game of business and investment better than anyone else.